So, welcome everyone. This is episode 14. The timing, I think, on some of this streaming going live stuff is still a little bit off. I mean, we're on opposite sides of the Pacific Ocean, which, that's a couple milliseconds right there. So, anyway, hi, Julie. How are you?
Good morning. I have my coffee today.
I have, we'll call it orange juice.
Oh, what is that what we're calling it?
Well, it is actually orange juice.
Is it a screwdriver or is it orange juice? Oh my God, I'm psychic.
Screwdriver, Julie.
What? What's that?
What's a screwdriver?
You got a little alcohol in there or something?
Yeah, it's not vodka though. It's actually the Korean. It's like a vodka-esque. It's called soju.
Vodka-esque. Yeah. That's cool.
A clear alcohol at about 20%, but it works with juice. So yeah. But it is orange juice. I went for a breakfast theme today, and you have coffee actually, which is nice.
Well, it is Coffee Talk. I do try to keep with the program a little bit. And Vivian is joining us. Hi, Vivian. Hey, type some questions in if you would like us to address anything.
Yeah, we do have, well, I mean, the first thing is you have something coming up again that you wanted to briefly talk about should I stay or should I go? Is that right?
Oh yeah, it's so fun and it's free. So everybody can join. And we have 4 languages, I think. All right, English, of course, Spanish, Portuguese, and French. And somebody was asking about Czech. We'll see if we can do that. I'm not sure, but
really? Wow.
Yeah. 4 languages. It's a Zoom. It's on Thursday around this time, a tiny bit, like at the top of the hour. So my 10 a.m. So it's good for Europe.
That actually would be great for India. I'll have to pop that in the group.
Good for India. Oh, that's right. And I think we do have somebody from India also.
Okay.
Promoting. Should I stay or should I go? Like how many times in the last few weeks have I had people ask me, should I do this or should I not? Should I leave my relationship or shouldn't I? Should I leave my lease? Should I go travel outside the United States or whatever? And there's so many, what should I do? What should I do? And not wanting to get the choice wrong, that I thought I would just do a free 30-minute Zoom and give people some tools and have a chance to maybe have a few people ask some questions live and
Now this is not specifically about relationships or houses. It's this sort of like just making the choice to move on from whatever the situation is.
It's about your awareness and knowing what you know and choosing what you know instead of guessing or jumping blindly off the cliff or following other people's points of view, direction, guidance, learning to trust yourself. That crazy thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I had a conversation with someone actually just about an hour and a half ago. And we were talking about the upcoming Relationship Done Different class with Simone and Brendan. And she was telling me about her relationship with her husband and how it's so non-standard and unusual. And a lot of people look at what she has and they kind of judge it and ask questions about it. But it's more about what works for you. Like, what are you aware of? What is the knowing that you have for yourself, which is what you're talking about. So it's not, I've had people send me messages and say they would ask me questions and they want to know my answer for their question.
Right.
And it's not my job. Like, it's not helpful to you for me to tell you necessarily what I'm aware of. It's for you to know that you know. I mean, we've both seen the evolution of the Access logo and the motto. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
over the years.
Tagline.
But yeah, thank you. But for people to know that they know, and that's such an accurate statement and such a gift, because you're not looking to anyone else. You're not.
And it's just a muscle that we've let weaken by listening to everybody else. And you know, when you listen to somebody else or you wait for somebody else to tell you and you miss a possibility that you knew was something, and you get so pissed. And you're not pissed at them, you're pissed at you for not trusting yourself. So we're just saying, hey, let's strengthen those muscles because we all have it.
Yeah. Like, oh, should I buy that property? And everyone's like, don't buy that property. That's a terrible investment. And you're like, I think I should buy it, but everyone else disagrees with me. And then 4 years later, it like tripled in price. You're like,
yep.
Like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Or like you want to go on a trip and like you see the flights are at a super great price and you're like, can we do it? Can we do it? And you're waiting for your partner or your friend or somebody to go with you. And they're like, I don't know, let me think about it. And then 2 days go by, the price doubles. They don't want to go and you're just screwed.
Yeah.
That's happened to me. So everything that brings up right from that I'll block all my shorts for, to be honest.
Nice. So, all right. So you're doing this, should I stay or should I go free class in about 48, what's 48 plus 24? Anyway, 3 days from now?
Thursday, around this time.
Right. Yeah. Right. Cool.
Yeah, and there's it's a Facebook thing. There's a Facebook event, so you can click on that to register and make sure you get the Zoom link. And if you can't make it live, you can get the recording if you send your registration in.
And also, we've asked people to put questions up and see if they have anything that they want us to talk about. We did get a question from Gloria. So do you mind if I read the question here?
Go for it.
Gloria says, thank you for this group. I really like it. My question is why in Access the priority is money and I don't perceive they achieve it as they would like. I mean, students, facilitators. I receive so many invitations for money classes, which I don't take, as they are different to my point of view of what is wealth. Thank you. So, very quickly, I want to say there isn't a question mark in there.
Right.
So it's a little more difficult to address questions when they aren't really questions, or they aren't phrased or presented as questions. But we are super excited that you commented and we want to talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's also a good question because, I mean, money is one of the, as she said, it's a big topic in Access. And also, you know, it's one of the things that comes up for people immediately because some of them look at the price of classes and they immediately go into money stuff. Like,
that's true.
You know, you see a class immediately and you're like, holy shit, that's expensive. Some people do. And then what do you do with that? Is it worth it? How can I deal with that? So money, I would agree that money is kind of an ever-present issue in Access.
With some people.
Yeah, with some people. Now, some people...
She says, I missed the question mark. But the thing is, like, no, you didn't miss the question mark. It's like when people say, I have a question, this shouldn't be like this. It's like, no, you're stating what is true for you, and it's fine. It's not wrong. It's not bad. It's just not a question. So when we don't have a question, we're really not open to other possibilities, which is also fine. It's, you know, that's your choice. The thing is that every person has certain areas in their life that are working where it's ease. And you're like, wow, I can't believe you have a problem with that. Like, I don't know, for me, I can always meet people. Most of my life, I have been in a relationship. I have not been single very much. at all. And there are other people who can't meet people and can't get a date or whatever. That's not my problem. But I don't say, well, I can't believe people have relationship problems, because, that's their area where they could use some more consciousness. And just because you have a relationship doesn't mean that you don't have any problems. So, like, there's always space for greater possibilities, whether you have or you don't have. It's the peace with what you have and what you don't have that allows you to have total choice.
Yeah. And I would say, I mean, I have so much to say about this. But another thing is, I mean, if it's working for you, you have to acknowledge that. Like, what makes you separate? What makes you different? What is it that you being you is the difference in the world? And if it's working for you, I mean, there's almost an element of wrongness in that, sort of like, everyone else has money issues, but I don't. Am I wrong? Which is, no. I mean, no one's wrong. But acknowledge that you have this different point of view. And what is it about your point of view? And what is it that you know that could create even greater for other people? I mean, maybe people would pay you to hear about your point of view about money. I mean, it sounds like you don't need money, so maybe you would just tell them for free. I don't advise that, but
do a free Zoom on how to be wealthy.
But acknowledge what it is that is working for you, that is different about you. And I didn't think about this until just while you were talking. My very first body class, I was paired up with this girl, and it was hysterical because she had so many body issues going on. And I don't really have as many body issues with that as a lot of people who do come to class. And, money and bodies and sex and relationships are kind of hot topics for people. But also her family situation was amazing. And my family situation, not so great. So, like, through the second day of the class, she suddenly was like, I'm the super big body issue person paired up with the guy who doesn't really have super big body issues, but he has family issues, and he's paired up with me, and I have zero family issues, And so it's like, there are things that are hot button topics, and there are issues that some people have that aren't necessarily going to match up with you. And as you said, for you, being in a relationship is not a challenge, but for other people, it's like,
well, no. Attracting somebody is not a challenge. Being in the relationship, I think, is challenging for.
I think it has to do with this issue. That's not an issue. Like, I see what you're doing there.
Like, you can go to the grocery store and meet somebody. You can go to, put gas in your car and somebody will give you their phone number. It's like, really? Seriously? But there are other people who don't have that. And it's like, I can't look at other people and go, well, there's something wrong there. It's like, oh, wow, I have some ease in this. I wonder what it is that I'm being or doing that's creating the difference, and what can I share or contribute so that other people can have ease in that area too.
And as far as money goes, I mean, money is a very thorny topic. It's a very complicated issue. And it's also an issue that kind of stops people from pursuing greater consciousness, and it's a large obstacle. And I think that one of the reasons you see so many classes about money is because it's such a big issue for people, one. And then you also, in your comment, you talked about how you said students and facilitators both. I know that there are facilitators who will do a class about a topic that they would also like even greater clarification on. They would like to, I mean, I heard Shannon, she made a comment about facilitating her foundation class like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And she was like, I came to this massive awareness that I had never really had before. And this is Shannon. And this
Right.
is foundation class, right? So
20 years of
right.
20 years of
So
access and foundation classes.
so
Yeah.
sometimes you might see someone doing a class about money, and then you look at them and you're like, well, they don't seem to have a lot of money. What's the deal? Like, why would I take that class? Or why do they feel like they can talk about money? But that isn't the deal, right? Like,
And there's
you
also,
can't.
but there's like, even people who are billionaires have money issues. Like,
Yeah.
it's having peace with money, however much you have. And that's probably why there's so many money classes as well. Is it's not about, hitting a certain amount in your bank account to prove that you now have money. It's how are you with the energy of money, no money, medium money, big money? Like, there's so many different ranges, and can you have peace with all of it? When you can, then you can have it or not have it, and it doesn't matter.
And something else that I just kind of thought about is people are more willing to say, I have a money problem. People aren't necessarily willing to say, I have a sex problem or I have a relationship problem.
True.
So if you are going to take a class, for many people, taking the class is kind of an admission that I need help in this area. And it's more socially acceptable to say, I need help with money. It's much less acceptable to say, I need help with my body issues or my sex issues, right? So
Yeah, and when
money
you
is
take money classes, you include the sexualness energies, so that they like crisscross. It's
right.
funny. Money and relationship, they're always tied together.
And that's the other thing, is that money is it's a universally appealing topic, and yet in many money classes you talk about the family issues, you talk about the body issues, you talk about the judgments you have of yourself, you talk about past life issues. I mean, the number of tendrils that spread out connected to the money issue, it touches on your receiving and your being in every arena. It's not simply how big is your bank account, right? So
Yeah, having a big bank account it's great, but it's like, once you get to whatever your target is, it's like, okay, now what? What are you going to do with it?
I was on this actually comment also reminded me, I don't think it was her, but on Shannon's money call, it was probably like call number, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something. And this woman, she was just like, I just don't know what the deal is. I mean, I made lots and lots of money, like millions of dollars in private jets, and I was flying all over the world, and I just didn't see the point of it all. And you could feel every other person on the call was just like, fuck you, and fuck you and your private jets. Like, what are you talking about, right? And it was really interesting because her point of view was, I've done all that. I made all that money, and it didn't have the effect that I thought it would. And so here I am after having made all that money, and I still am facing the same questions that these other people are facing, right? So it was really interesting to hear
Yeah.
that from someone who'd been kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
What are you being and doing in the world that is fulfilling to you, you know, and you can have the jets and all of, like, shit, I would love to have that while I'm being and doing the things that really light me up. But if I'm just doing that as like the way to put myself on the map, it's going to be unfulfilling. It's going to be empty. I mean, I had an almost $1 million business, and the house and the kids and the cars and the everything. I mean, it was like, okay, it wasn't enough because I didn't have me.
And I mean, will it ever be enough? Is there such thing as enough for a humanoid?
No.
Right. So
but it's way more fun when you have more of you while
yes.
you're doing everything that you're doing. If you can come from that place of like your true north, your whatever is sparkly light bright for you, it's a totally different experience whether you're doing the laundry or flying off to a class, you know, around the world. I can have just as much joy doing the laundry because I have me.
I got a load waiting. You want to come and do that?
No. But you know what was funny? This just reminds me. My son just went off to college. It's his third year, but he's transferred and he's gone to a different state, and he's, I think, moved states. Anyway, we were folding up all of his clothes so that he could pack and get ready. And it just reminded me of when he was little, and both of my kids were really little when I started Access. And we used to do the loads of laundry, and then everybody would sit around the living room and fold their own clothes, and we'd have folding parties. And we made it fun. And so here we were sitting, packing his things, and I was folding his clothes, and it just reminded me of that. And it wasn't like this mountain of laundry that it used to be before Access. It really changed my point of view around that. And it just became this fun thing where we could be together and be doing something with our hands, but we were being together.
Yeah. And like just what you said, that's one of the basic things that shows up in the first Access class is about your point of view changing your reality. And like you said, before Access it was a mountain of clothes, and then after it wasn't such a mountain anymore. Well, I don't think that the number of clothes went down. I don't think the volume of laundry went down.
Nope.
It was more your point of view about it being a mountain versus like a fun time to hang out with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
So, and that I didn't have to do it all.
Right.
That was the other thing. And it wasn't like this push, you have to do this. It was like, hey, let's have a folding party.
Right.
I'll teach you how to fold. All right. And you know what's great is that I taught them how to do their own clothes. And they do their own laundry too. And I taught them how to make their own lunches and stuff when they were in middle school. And now they cook for themselves. They have such great life skills. They cook like, you know, really, really fun, healthy, flavorful. Like it looks really good. Like I want it. Oh, he makes enough for me. And my son makes pizza from scratch, and he loves making bread. Like they're just they have these really different interests that go deep into these subjects because it's fun for them.
Right. Yeah. Nice job, Mom.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, it's better that they can that they don't need you. I mean, I know that sounds bad when it comes out like that, but I mean, they do need you, but they don't need you to like buy them toothpaste and do their laundry, you know?
Right. Yeah. It's, you know, being self-sufficient and Well, one thing that I knew is that I didn't want to make my kids my life. And so many people are like, oh, my daughter's the light of my life. And it's like, ooh, you don't want to do that, because one day they're gonna leave. And
Yeah.
then you'll be like, who am I? Where's my life? But
Yeah.
the other thing is it's a huge burden on them. A huge burden.
Sure. It's a responsibility. Like, oh, I have to be this for my mom or my dad. Yeah.
Yeah. So, having a life, having lots of other things besides your children and your family really shows them that they have choice and that they can choose things that are fun and light them up. And it's just so satisfying to see them choose that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when they go, you're not like, ooh, like they both left this weekend and I was having a great time. I had a great time. I didn't feel, oh, I'm left and alone. Now what am I going to do? I had all these things. It was awesome.
Did you get your bars done?
I did.
I
Got my
know. I saw
bars
the
on,
photo.
my body process. I took classes. I taught classes. I went to work. It was just awesome. And then my daughter came home after the weekend, and it's like we had things to talk about that we did that were fun to share. It was just great.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, this ties a little bit back to what we said earlier. And I just want to reinforce the importance of acknowledgement. Like, you have to acknowledge what you are doing and being and what you're creating. You have to acknowledge that. Like, acknowledgement leads to receiving. You acknowledge, like, you cannot dismiss what you are doing and being and what you've created, because that's not going to encourage it to be greater and more and bigger, right?
Yeah,
So
and acknowledgement is not a conclusion either. It's, wow, this is, and the question is, how does it get better? Like,
right.
acknowledge and ask, acknowledge and ask, acknowledge and ask.
I had somebody ask me once what my favorite question was, if it was how's it getting better than this or what else is possible, because those are they're right there. So yeah, you acknowledge it and you're like, how's it getting better? What else is possible? It's for me, those are two of my absolutely favorite questions in Access. Like, yeah, I mean, in life, I can't just say in Access.
Yeah, it's so true. And I've noticed that over the years when, let's say I had a big sale or a big win in some way, I'd be like, yes. And I could feel everything start to slow down and stop because I had like concluded. And when you start to become aware of those subtle energies and where you do stop it, all you have to do is ask the question, oh, right, and what else is possible and how does it get better? And that is not dismissing your acknowledgement. It's actually including your acknowledgement and moving, and what else? Like moving the bar ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, man. So I want to say thank you very much to Gloria. I'm not sure if she's still
Yes,
on, but
thank you, Gloria. We love
thank you,
you.
Gloria, so much. We do love you. And
your questions, even if they don't have
yes,
question marks sometimes.
sometimes. And I think there was another question as well. And that actually, we're kind of out of time, but that tied into what you're doing your Zoom on in a couple days.
Yes, and she's registered for it. So you're just gonna have
Oh.
to wait.
All right. So you're going to have to wait a couple days. So press pause on all those choices. Is that what you're saying?
No, start playing even now. What do you know?
I'm kidding.
What do you know that you don't think you know? That if you would allow yourself to know it, would make your life way too easy.
Yeah.
And everything that brings up pot and pock.
All right. So it's going to be Thursday your time.
Thursday at this time right now on Thursday.
Okay. 3 days. 72 hours, I think.
72 hours.
There we go. The math came through at the end.
But if you're watching it later,
oh, right. Yeah.
Just go to the Facebook event.
So it's going to be.
Should I stay or should I go? And it's there. And there's like a time, date, clock link for anybody in the world.
Magical.
I'm going to say universe, but I suppose it would be anybody in the universe too. But,
I'm not sure if that has a setting for like Venus time. Or,
time, date, universe.
Yeah.
Mars. Did you ever see that movie, The Martian?
Was that the goofy comedy one?
No, it was the guy like in the space program who supposedly
who got stuck on Mars.
Yeah.
Damon. Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. Wow, that was quite interesting. My kids made me watch that with them.
Yeah. I was looking at that, like I think I'm like generally a smart guy, but then looking at what he had to do I was like, man, I don't know how to do that.
Totally ingenious. I think about like
setting up the communication circle around. Yeah.
And when he first realized he was stuck there, and he was like freaked out for a minute, cried for a second, and then was like, okay, got to get to work. And God, like years, you have to survive for years. That just blew my mind. Like that's a total humanoid, somebody who is not going to give up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh,
it's maybe we'll have to. You guys should watch it. The Martian.
I was gonna say we should like maybe lean into doing that kind of a thing. Like we could do movie reviews, or we could do like video reactions, or we could do something related to like.
Or that first date thing that you were talking about.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we watch people talk about their dates. Anyway, you've got to go. It was nice to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
And also, you mentioned how easy it is to get phone numbers. You could probably do a class on that. Or Julie's weekly tips
how to
on
get
getting
a date.
Phone numbers. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I think the men might benefit from taking that class. Yeah.
All right, so that's going to be on Friday.
I'm working with men and showing them how they can get a date.
All righty then. So we have lots of ideas, and we're already wrapping up.
Aw.
So, all right.
Time goes so quickly when we're chatting.
It does. It's really fun. Well, you have a good rest of the day, and I'm off to bed, I think.
Okay. Sweet dreams. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.